over 800 years before Goethe wrote Faust. A story about a holy man selling his soul to the devil was terrifying Christians across Europe. A story so powerful that it inspired countless plays, poems, and paintings, and eventually became the template for literature's most famous deal with the devil. This is the story of Theophilus of Adana, the original man who sold his soul. Hey everyone, welcome back to Illuminated Infamy. Today we're getting into one of the most influential legends of medieval Christianity, a tale of pride, damnation, and miraculous redemption that literally shaped Western literature for over a millennium. If you're into dark folklore and the origins of famous stories, you're going to love this. Let's get into it. Our story takes place in the 6th century, in the city of Adana, that's in modern-day Turkey. Theophilus was an archdeacon, which was basically the number 2 position in the local church hierarchy. He was respected, pious, beloved by the community. When the bishop died, everyone assumed Theophilus would be the natural successor. The people wanted him. The clergy wanted him. It was basically a done deal. But here's the twist. Theophilus refused. Out of humility, he declined the position. Seems noble, right? A holy man refusing power and prestige. Very monk-like. But then they gave the job to someone else. And suddenly, Theophilus wasn't feeling so humble anymore. He watched as the new bishop took his position, made decisions that should have been his to make, received the honor and respect that he had earned, and it ate away at him. This is where the story takes a darker turn. Consumed by jealousy and wounded pride, Theophilus made a decision that would change his life and literary history forever. He sought out a Jewish sorcerer who was known to have connections to powers that operated outside the church's authority. The sorcerer agreed to help, but there was a price. He arranged a meeting, not with himself, but with his master, Satan himself. According to the legend, Theophilus met the devil at midnight, and Satan made him an offer. Everything he wanted, his position restored, power, influence, respect. All of it could be his again. The cost? A written contract, signed in his own blood, renouncing Christ and the Virgin Mary, his soul in exchange for earthly power, and Theophilus signed. What happened next is almost anticlimactic in how well it worked. Almost immediately, circumstances changed. The new bishop fell from favor, political winds shifted, and Theophilus found himself restored to his former glory. Maybe even better than before. He had everything he wanted, except, of course, his soul. For years, Theophilus lived with this terrible secret. He performed his duties, led prayers, administered sacraments, all while knowing he was damned. The guilt became unbearable. Imagine that psychological torture. Every Mass he celebrated, every blessing he gave, every time he invoked the very God he had renounced, it all reminded him of what he'd done. Finally, he couldn't take it anymore. He threw himself before a statue of the Virgin Mary and begged for forgiveness. For 40 days and 40 nights, he prayed, he fasted, he wept. He pleaded for intercession, for mercy, for any chance at redemption. And then she appeared. According to the legend, the Virgin Mary herself manifested before Theophilus. She was disappointed, devastated even, at what he had done. But she saw his genuine repentance, so she did the impossible. She descended into hell itself, confronted Satan, and demanded the return of Theophilus's contract. When Theophilus awoke, the blood-signed contract was lying on his chest. The devil's hold on him was broken. He was free. Theophilus immediately confessed everything to the bishop and the congregation. He showed them the contract as proof. 3 days later, filled with joy and relief, he died, his soul saved by divine mercy. Now here's why this matters beyond just being a cool medieval story. the legend of Theophilus exploded across medieval Europe. It was translated into dozens of languages. It appeared in sermon collections, mystery plays, illuminated manuscripts. Everyone knew this story. Why? Because it hit on something fundamental, the fear of damnation, but also the hope of redemption. No matter how far you fall, no matter what you've done, there's still a chance for salvation. Sound familiar? Fast forward about 800 years. A German legend emerges about a scholar named Johann Georg Faust, who makes a deal with a demon named Mephistopheles. This story gets picked up by Christopher Marlowe, then later by Goethe, becoming one of the most famous works in Western literature. The Faust legend, with its pact, its contract, its themes of ambition and damnation, is essentially the Theophilus story remixed for a Renaissance and Enlightenment audience. Scholars have directly traced the literary DNA from one to the other. Theophilus gave us the template, the contract signed in blood, the moment of despair, the hope of redemption. Every deal with the devil story that came after owes something to this 6th century legend. So the next time you see a deal with the devil plot in a movie, a TV show, or a book, from the devil in Daniel Webster to Constantine to Supernatural, remember that the blueprint was written over 1,400 years ago by the story of a monk who let pride destroy him and divine mercy save him, the original soul seller, the first Faust, Theophilus of Adana. If you enjoyed this deep dive into dark medieval folklore, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from history's shadows. Drop a comment and let me know what other legendary figures you want me to cover. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.